videos, I already mentioned about JSX. It's a syntax extension for JavaScript. It allows you to write HTML-like code within JavaScript and then gets transformed into regular JavaScript objects that represents your UI elements. We already have seen in the previous videos that how easy was it for us to include this HTML-like code within the component and get it rendered on the browser as a user interface element. It will give you a feeling as if you have created your elements using HTML. Alright, so let's consider this component that we just created with the name greeting.js, and this is a function component that is returning an h1 tag representing greetings for the day. Now, in order to render this, go to app.js and we will use the import statement, import greeting from components greeting. For now, I'm going to comment the previous two component imports, and also I'm going to delete it from here. We only need to render the greeting component. And you can see the output over here. Now we are actually going to know that what exactly is the concept of JSX, and that is React.createElement. What is it? It's a function provided by the React library, and it takes three arguments, that is the type of the element, the properties also called as props of the element, and the children of the element as the third argument. And it returns a React element, which is a JavaScript object representing the UI component. Let's use the React.createElement syntax in order to return our UI. So we will be writing here return React.createElement, where we will be having three arguments indicating the first one as the element. Let's say I want to create h1 tag, and secondly I have the props or the properties of the element. For now I'll be keeping it as an empty object, or you can also put here null. And third parameter will be the children of the element. So in order to create children, you need to put either a text or you can put any other element inside the same element. For now, I want to just put a text inside h1, and that will be, let's say greetings for the day. And then you see that your output doesn't change. You can verify this from your inspect element of the browser and have a look at the div tag, and there you see that there is one h1 tag which is showing a text greetings for the day. But yet it's not over. Let's consider something complex. Imagine that you are supposed to create a div tag within which you are required to create an h1 tag. Now, let's say we will be creating an h1 tag by specifying h1 this way, and by going to the browser, what do you see that your output has now changed. Also, if you check the inspect element in order to verify, what do you see is that this is simply showing a text inside your div tag. It means that this is not how this works. So we are required to create a child element inside the div tag. So we will be deleting this, and we need to use React.createElement once again. So over and over you will have to keep using if you want to create nested elements. So write down your first parameter as your element. We need h1 tag. Second one will be its properties, and the third one will be the message or the text that we want to create, greetings for the day. And thereby you will see the correct output on the browser. Also check through the inspect element. You can have a look at it. And there you see that your div tag is now having an h1 tag. We can also change the properties of the element by using the style object. So all you need to do is put style object inside this, and further you can have your properties as an object. You can specify background color. For now I would like to have it as green. So when you check the result, you see that the color is also applied, and what you see inside the inspect element, you see a style attribute has been added to your div tag as background color green. In the same way, you can also specify other properties such as ID and class name. But that's not all. Think about something complex. Imagine showing a list of items on the web page. In that case, you will have to keep using React.createElement again and again inside your list. And this will just unnecessarily make your code complex. And that's why JSX was introduced. Browsers actually cannot understand JSX syntax. So your JSX actually gets transpiled into React.createElement calls. This allows developers to write more readable and maintainable code. Now that's the power of JSX. JSX is simply a syntactic sugar that makes React code more intuitive and easier to write. JSX code is more readable and expressive than pure React.createElement calls. And JSX-based code is simpler to understand, to modify, and also improves the overall maintainability. So we can say that React.createElement is the fundamental function that creates the elements, and JSX is just a syntactic sugar over it so that your code doesn't become complex. All it does is it will be transpiled into this React.createElement so that it gets understood by your browser. React.createElement provides a flexible way to create and customize the React element, while JSX abstracts away the complexity of React.createElement and making your code more readable. Let's have a look at the benefits of JSX. It allows developers to express UI components more naturally. Improves the developer productivity by simplifying the creation of elements. Promotes consistent coding patterns and best practices in React development. And it is similar to HTML, making it easier for web developers to learn.